Hello, everybody. My name's Al Herod. It's my pleasure to introduce the speaker that we have later and introduce the session, which is around competing and winning. This is actually a series. So we've actually ran this session, Compete and Win, with 5 use cases. And that was really interesting because we had something like 1,000 people actually join that session. Whether that was in person at events or we ran it digitally in a couple of formats. And this is slightly different. Everyone wants to understand around use cases, but competing and winning in today's environment, this is around 5 tips to smart factories. So on housekeeping, we very much recommend asking questions. So the session will run for about 40 minutes and then we'll go to questions. Please feel free to utilize Annie as the expert in this field. Around agenda, we're going to look at it's really exciting. We're going to start looking at a bit of research, news and surveys. We used to look back on 5 years. Things changed so much, especially in the smart and the AI kind of world. We'd be looking at 2 years. We're going to go, of course, to 5 tips, and then we're going to hit on practical examples of getting it right. I think at that point, what I'd like to do is I'd like to bring Annie on.
Thank you very much. Guys, thank you. As Al was saying to you guys, we're delighted to bring you another one of the webinars in our series. We've really been focusing. The series kind of started with us 2 years ago, launched at Smart Manufacturing Engineering here in the UK, but going out to all of our customers in the region, also in AME and Asia Pac and all across the world where we have customers. So guys, really we started 2 years ago, and today I really want to kind of look back for you. As manufacturing for us is the major vertical market we work in, and industrial and mining analytics, guys, this is really for us an exciting time. Number one, in that the things we've been preaching for years and years are really coming to fruition, and our customers are embracing and rapidly advancing in the things that we've kind of had 25 years in learning. What goes right, what goes wrong, and when does it go right, and when does it go wrong. But you guys know I always make a joke. I am a statistician by trade. I can bore you with statistics daily and even in person if I come on site. I see some really good faces of customers that we've had for so many years, guys. But really, we're starting this morning before I take you into the 5 tips, just taking you into a little bit of stat and research on what are the trends that we've been seeing in the last 2 years, and how the deployment of smart analytics, AI, and manufacturing analytics has really grown in the manufacturing market. And I'm kind of really excited to see these trends. We regularly and regularly work with the bodies in getting this research. So I want to start with a quick, just 2 years focus to tell you guys what we've been seeing and what our manufacturing researchers are telling us. We work closely with a few of them to understand the trends in the market, and really looking back over the last 2 years, as long as this series has existed, we kind of started with a very big push 2 years ago to say, in 2024, when we were researching for our first webinar and presenting this as first in series at arguably one of the biggest summits in Europe, we had some really good research that told us that 63% of manufacturers told us that they don't know where to start with AI. I think you've heard this in my previous webinars. Some of them, 9%, had started deploying this. And it was the 4th highest priority for leaders on their KPIs and performance indicators at board level. Deploying AI became, just seriously one of the very most important prerogatives that our manufacturing leaders were given. Given this, these statistics are a little bit alarming, and I mean, it even makes you a little bit more scared. If we look at what MIT was saying last year around AI, You know, and guys, it's kind of scary, and I think again, I'm a statistician. I think the sample here is very skewed to people who really have not done AI right. MIT told us that only 5% of AI projects successfully implement and bring value. That's not what I've learned over the last 25 years. That's definitely not what I've seen with some of our best-in-class customers, small and large. Over the last 10 years. People are hungry for this, they're learning, they're doing it right. So, guys, I don't want statistics like these to scare you. If you do this right, you work as always for our customers in African region where I was born, and Data Shack really was started 25 years ago and grew up in that region. Guys, how do you eat an elephant? Bite by small little bite, but methodically and with the right methodologies under the hood, guys. So this is what I'll be talking about today, really in a little bit more depth. How do we get started? What are the right things to do? What are the wrong things to do? What have we learned? Because we don't want you to spend another 5 years learning these lessons. Getting to, for us, a AI Center of Excellence within your business should not take that long with a 90% failure or 95% failure rate. We really just don't believe, you know, that should be the case. I mean, these guys had such huge losses. If you look at you know, what happened to the big AI winners and these stocks. And guys, this is general AI. The type of AI, or today when people talk in the news about AI, they almost always just talking about generative AI and large language models. Those things are well and easily implemented if your organization is mature and you do it well. But in manufacturing, we look a little bit differently at how we deploy AI and what type of AI is actually deployed. And guys, this is hot off the press. This was released 2 weeks ago. The manufacturer actually, number one, produces great weekly, monthly updates on manufacturing momentum. But this is their annual survey. They do to around 16,000 manufacturers of all kinds, and gives us a really good pulse on what's really happening out there. And guys, it's looking a lot better in 2026. And by that, I mean, look at the change from 63% 2 years ago of manufacturers telling us they don't know where to start. 48% of them this year, or in the last few months when the survey was done, told us that they're still unsure where to start. So, I mean, that's almost a, say, 15% shift. I think that's a good significant shift. 34%, you saw the 9%. 34% of them says that they've got high confidence that it will deliver ROI, but there's still the skeptics. 44% remain neutral. And guys, if you really see some of my tips, 43% of these manufacturers told us efficiency is their biggest hope for AI. Efficiency in the way we do things. What is, and some of the problems with deploying AI is we want to throw AI at every business problem or reason or a KPI, and that's not always the case. You should use AI and implement these projects on tangible things that will show business gains and efficiency, not experimental or trying something disruptive. Unless you've already got tried and trusted implemented practices and methodologies, guys. I'm not saying stay behind if you are a disruptor. However, be very careful on when and how to start, because you should start. You should have started already, but there's a measured way, and this is what brings us to my 5 tips. Really saying to you, what have we learned? What have we learned? What do I know for sure about the last 25 years? What is my gray hair? This is not blonde, trust me, not all of it. What is my gray hair taught me in the last 25 years? And we want you to learn from our learnings, not spend 25 years learning yourself, or at least 3 to 4 years. I can give you some statistics of US manufacturers we spoke to. US manufacturers, and some of the last surveys I saw at the end of last year, told them that AI projects, to get their first AI projects off the ground, took them on average a year. First project cost them over $1 million, and in some cases several $1 million. We don't want that to be the case for you guys. That should not be the case. If you start fast, you use a very good use case based quick approach, try and test methodology, and then I'll talk a little bit more about that. But guys, there are good ways to start, scale up fast, quick sprints, agile. You guys know the methodologies in manufacturing. This is for me as I almost will say ex-data scientist. Guys, very early in my career, in the 3rd year of my career, I ended up in heavy industry, mining, manufacturing. Steel, gold, platinum, diamonds, oil and gas, fast-moving consumer goods. What did I have to acquire very quickly? Six Sigma skills, agile, lean. As a data scientist, I was able to marry the methodologies I'd learned about building AI models and building ML and working with data science algorithms. Applying that skill with my Six Sigma skills, I very quickly got a certification as a Six Sigma Master Black Belt. Why? Because don't forget how these things have served you, and make sure those strategies speak the language of the manufacturing industry. So guys, the first tip, really, I want to talk about what we call, and this has really been a motto for us in the last 2 years, fast is the new smart. You can't say, should we, shouldn't we? You've seen the statistics. Your competitors, and probably all the best in class, have started. They have tried. They may have failed, but they've tried and failed fast, and try again, if it has failed. And guys, we know why these things fail. So my first tip is don't wait to start. Don't wait to start. We've got really good methodologies to help you get started. A bimodal approach, which we'll talk about a little bit more. But pick your first use case. Go and put it through a hopper. We've got good readiness assessments to help you to say, do I have the right things to make this project a success? Do I have the infrastructure? Is my problem well aligned with my KPIs? Do I have the data? Can I actually scale? Do I have governance? Do I have all the necessary skills? Do I have all those things in place? Test that with your first use case. Build that up if you need to, and scale fast. Add more use cases. Build a center of excellence, because you can, and it should take you less than a year. That's what we really want to push and help you understand, that you can start if you do it right. That's the first tip. Don't wait. Start small, guys. Take that first bite of the elephant. If you're scared, listen to experience, listen to these tips, because they've stood us in good stead, and we've learned what has worked and what hasn't worked. If you look at tip 2, guys, and I reiterate what I said in the beginning, guys, that word efficiency you saw in the manufacturing survey, in the Pulse report. Very interesting. Efficiencies. What the when I say don't throw the baby out with the bathwater, you guys have learned as manufacturers, as heavy industry, trusted methodologies that work for you. those Lean and Six Sigma, your process methodologies, your tools and techniques, your mindset and culture. You've learned what works with those. You've learned that helps you talk a common language, have common metrics, how you measure across your plant. Don't leave that by the wayside when you're dealing with AI and advanced algorithms and efficiencies. Guys, Six Sigma is and Lean are problem-solving methodologies used and the way we work in manufacturing. Don't leave that behind. Make sure your AI strategy marries well with the language of your business and the things that have already brought you huge efficiencies. It's all about that. That's where AI in manufacturing will really pay for you. Don't forget about these methodologies. They work. They marry very well with scaling up in AI methodology. We really want you to be able to make that shift right across the board, from your incoming supply chain data, your suppliers, your planning on what needs to be where, when, your raw materials turned into goods and packaged goods, and right out to distribution. Those problem-solving methodologies work well in any of those areas. You guys have been doing it for a very, very long time. Don't think when you're implementing AI, those methodologies need to be thrown out the bathwater. Use those methodologies and marry it with your AI strategy. It will stand you in good stead. When we talk about those metrics, how do we measure project success? Where are we going with this project? What are we gaining? You can measure the performance and the quality and the value of your AI implementations using your tried and trusted methodologies and marrying it with the process methodologies for developing algorithms and developing smart analytics under the hood and the real smart factory of the future. My third tip, guys, is what we see a lot and most of all. A lot of the initial the AI tech that you're being sold currently was not built for factories. You see the if I've got some McKinsey reports telling us where especially Gen AI and AI actually are working very well at the moment. Things like HR, logistics, finance. Also, our customers in finance have been using AI algorithms for a long, long time for things like money laundering, fraud, customer retention, CRM. They were not built for factories. So when you look at the first algorithms, you need to better well make sure you deploy AI algorithms built for factories that's grown for an industrial environment. A lot of these algorithms work so well, but not all of the tech houses focus on these. So when you look at your stakeholders, guys, if you've known us for longer than at least the last 10 years, well, you'll know that a lot of the tech stack we supported was from Dell, and you know, in 2014, I had the honor of actually being in Austin with Michael Dell just for some short sessions when the tech contracts were handed over. And he said something really interesting that still sits with me today, that said, if output and dashboards and a GUI and statistics cannot be explained from a screen by a 4-year-old, it shouldn't be displayed. Now, guys, that brings me to us 4 stakeholders here. In a manufacturing environment, if you look at these 4 people right here, you'll look at Laura, who's a departmental, she's head of supply chain. Laura has very different questions to ask from your factory data, your manufacturing and supply chain data, than perhaps on the right-hand side. And guys, I'm from Africa, Bongani, and he's a real customer of mine. He shall remain faceless. That's not him really. But on the right-hand side is the GM of a plant. he needs to be on top of every single aspect of that big picture I showed you. If you look at Greg, perhaps Greg's a process engineer. The way that Greg looks at, he looks at efficiencies. He looks at making sure that the predictive maintenance is done, or proactive maintenance is done. He looks at very different data than Laura Bongani. Sally is in the QA lab. She looks at product quality, finished product quality. So guys, there's very different ways in which our stakeholders will interact with this data. So we need to make sure that when we produce things, when we produce outputs for these people to make decisions, and we use those smart algorithms that are built for these consumers, they can understand when and how and why to take action, guys. If you look across your manufacturing value chain, and these stakeholders, they need to be able. Somebody like Bongani needs, from a very high level, as a somebody in leadership team, he needs to be able to have a very good pulse. And guys, sorry for looking up. My big screen where I'm pointing for you sits high up here in my York office. So guys, Bongani needs to see every department and its performance. He's in the leadership team. He's a very different type of stakeholder. The things that's important to him is very, very different than what it might be for Laura, who's a departmental manager, who might want to drill down on the things that she's responsible for, monitor if they're performing the way that they should be performing, and she's tracking well on her process capabilities, and they're red or green. Guys, Six Sigma language, do you hear me saying process capability, CPK? She can measure her department's performance with process engineering's performance, with Bongani's leadership. These are also CPKs. He knows where in his plant, from incoming supply right down to final packaging and distribution. What are we doing? It's sitting on that level that he needs to look at the data. Laura needs to look at it very differently. Greg, once again, very, very differently. He needs to really look deeply at predicting. This is a actual neural network that's displaying. Sorry, I'm geeking out. I'm a statistician. I warned you when we started. But understanding what is his process currently doing, what should it be doing, what's going to happen if he doesn't make significant changes in his efficiencies. Guys, he needs to look a lot deeper, your process and engineering departments. And Sally, she's really interested in product quality and behaving within a spec that's expected to customer, and where the product has to be rejected and cannot be sent, a finished product cannot be sent to customers. Guys, if you look at this thing as a whole, you need to make sure that when you're deploying AI, it talks to the business, it talks to your stakeholders, it solves the key problems for them that makes them efficient. It speaks a common language, right? So reiterating my first couple of tips, and it's built for a factory, right? And this is where I come. So now you'll say to me, well, this is great, Annie, but how the hell do we get started? What do we do? The elephant standing in front of me, what do I bite? Do I bite him in the butt, or where do I start, right? We have learned that what I spoke about earlier, a bimodal approach brings value. How do I start? How do I start fast? How do I do this? And I've drawn you a time scale here, guys. If you look at this time scale, this is in months 1, 3, 6, 9. If we're looking at starting our use cases, you'll see that AI readiness, make sure you're ready, and don't throw every use case at AI. Those statistics from MIT, I can promise you somebody in the business went and said, we are having a problem with A, let's throw an AI algorithm at it. Is it appropriate? Maybe. Do we have the right data? Maybe. Are we asking the right questions? I don't know. Guys, do you see where your Six Sigma skill will stand you in really good stead? Are you ready? Look at the use cases you have. You look at the use cases that you think are good ones, take it through the fire test. We've got really good tests that you can do that will tell you how ready you are, and understanding where are the areas that you perhaps are not that good. While we're trying use case 1, we are looking for the things that will prepare us to scale. While we're solving this, we pick use case 1, we prioritize, we check the readiness. We know where we are perhaps lacking if we want to prepare to scale. It's data infrastructure. What does our data management look like? Governance, ethics, compliance. This is a big one. A big auto manufacturer here in the UK. They've got a big mother company in Bavaria. They've got 2 plants here in the UK. I sat in the room with a GM and I said to him, and I won't say his name, what do you think? We were doing a readiness assessment for them, and he was saying, I said to him, what? And he said to me, Annie, I'm scared about my talent and culture. You see, I've got a few thousand employees here in my plant, but the 5 of us that have been tasked to deploy AI and know what we want to achieve are sitting in this room. How do I assure when I start deploying use cases, I've got my talent pool with me? And guys, if you know about that, you know that's something we need to do. There's really a lot we can do and help, and a lot you can do to upskill. And a lot of our customers, a few of our customers are really doing this right, training their engineering communities, training their general office teams on what is appropriate for AI. Bring us a use case, bring it to the center of excellence. We will teach you, we will take you some way. But we want you, after the first 3 months, in 1 or 2 quick sprints, 6 weeks, 8-week sprints, to be able to walk away with a first use case solved and an AI strategy for adding new use cases. Make sure you're prepared to scale. So bimodal, first mode is solve use case 1. Check that we have all the things in place to be successful while we're solving use case 1. Then we can start plugging in and make ourselves factory enabled, guys. Technology tools, stakeholders, making sure we can service, we can build these nice models under the hood. We can optimize, deploy, integrate, and scale with more than just one use case. You build a center of excellence. That's what we want to end up with. It's intelligence driven. It uses our language. It's for our stakeholders. Once we've solved a couple of less complex ones, in Six Sigma, the low-hanging fruit, or the things we know will make huge efficiency differences, we can then start with that more advanced use cases. We can go then to those experimental and disruptive type use cases, because we've tested that we've got everything in place to be successful, and we can monitor and provide feedback that those things are performing the way they should, and have an operation, a model ops environment where these can live, and we can version them, we can test that they are still telling us what they need to be telling us, guys. So get yourself, get freaking started. Do a quick workshop, do a quick readiness assessment, understand that you have what you need. So I'm going to my last tip from here, guys. You saw that people, we hear this a lot, talent and skills. Do we have the right people? Can we scale? And some of you have listened to our previous webinars in the series, or have attended my talks in person at some of the events. This is a little inside joke and the real honest truth. My very first customer was a steel mill as a statistician in manufacturing industry, going to a steel mill today that's owned by Tata Steel. Met a customer. This customer is still in metals industry, still my customer, and his name's Harry. And this is not a picture of him, Harry, or me, by the way. I hope I looked like this 25 years ago, kind of. I've got lots more grey hairs and wrinkles today, but guys, the day I walked into Harry's plant, climbed up the steel stairs to his office overlooking the plant, he said to me, "Hello, sweetheart, and where's your boss?" And I just smiled, and I kind of, I was in my mid-20s, and smiled and kind of said to him, well, he's making me some coffee, but let's get started. If you think I'm stupid, you can throw me out. And we had quite a giggle after the fact, Harry and I. But through the years, we have solved together many, many hard engineering challenges Harry's had. What am I trying to tell you? Or what is the moral of the story, right? The moral of the story is, guys, often our customers ask us, do I now go in the AI Center of Excellence? Do I go and hire in Annie's? Do I go hire in the skill and teach them about my business? Or do I use the people in my business who know my business very well and teach them Annie's skills? And my answer, this is again my own personal opinion, but also, guys, from many years of experience, what did Annie have to do? Annie had to learn a big lot about my customers and kick the tires, versus Harry, who had been kicking the tires for a while, who knew where the bodies were buried. And Harry and I made a great team. However, guys, my tip is nurture your talent. Here in the UK, I can tell you specifically, we have a huge skills shortage of apprentices and engineering students. They just are not there. Take your existing talent that you have put through apprenticeships, teach them these skills. We have customers that have trained the engineering workforces to understand the basics about modeling. Yes, by all means, have a few Annies in the back end, or one to start with in case they need the real heavy lifting statistics, or outsource it to people like us. But don't be scared. Don't think you're going to have to hire an army of 300 and dare I say it, and guys, I'm going to sound like a ratty old lady this morning saying to you, or for me it's morning, for you it's afternoon, for some of you, or evening in our Asia Pac region. I'm going to sound like a ratty old lady, guys. I often walk into a customer where they say to us, "No, we don't need industrial AI. We've employed 15 young data scientists." Now, guys, I'm sorry, but what you hire as a data scientist sometimes in the market is a kid that had a few stats lessons and learned how to program in Python. Be very, very afraid if that's your strategy. Guys do not usually understand your business. I'm not saying you cannot teach them your business, upskill, and with good experience and embedding them within departments, they cannot be successful. I'm saying make sure that you're not expecting a rocket ship, because what you're hiring is a bicycle to start with. You're going to teach it how to become a rocket ship about your business, right? Your better bet, your quicker bet is working with your people that you can actually upskill, make more efficient, make this career attractive for them by adding these skills to their wheelhouse. A few of our customers have done this absolutely excellently, and I want to call some of them out. And one of them have recently changed names, and we also don't have permission to share. But working in mining industry, guys, we've worked with a few of these customers where they've got digital twins, where we actually teaching some of them once or twice a year their intake of engineering workforce. We are teaching them, and these guys are people like in the diamond industry, people who are geologists, metallurgical engineers, process engineers, chemical engineers. We are teaching them the skills to be able to understand. They are not going to become a data scientist overnight, no, but they're learning how to solve their business problems. What are the right algorithms to work with somebody with the skill to get these deployed? But we're teaching them the skills from very basic. In oil and gas industry, a customer like ConocoPhillips, we have trained since 2019 up to now 3,500 of their workforce data literacy skills, our classes tend to start with a big class coming for data literacy, data analytics 1 and 2. Then it kind of peters down to the guys who are really specialized that stay in the data science for engineering and for business professionals, and a very few for Gen AI, drones and robotics, and how AI is used there. But guys, you can see by the scale of the number of people we've been able to train over the last period that they are really taking it seriously in upskilling their workforce. They are winning. They are market leading. They're doing extremely well for having these skills. In FMCG, people like SAB Miller, who's now AB InBev, British American Tobacco, guys, our first engagement with British American Tobacco was in 2002. They really take the stuff seriously, working, upskilling themselves with industrial data analytics, statistical process control, process optimization, improvement, but once they mature in those types of analytics, bringing in the AI is far quicker and easier to get that skills out. In high-tech manufacturing, we're busy working with a customer. They are global. They've got plants here in the UK. They've got plants in Germany. They've got many plants in Asia Pac. We're working with the data literacy programs from basic skills to AI ML. Same methodology. Start with the masses. Just make them literate. Start the guys who really put up their hands and specializing. Keep nurturing them. Train them if they want the more advanced skills. Guys, engineers and technical guys in manufacturing are some of my best students. I can tell you, can tell you now. So guys, I'm going to stop here and leave some time for questions. Just a teaser before we start with questions, guys. We have Al and the team and the marketing team have worked really, really hard. We are busy publishing for you a day in the life series. If you look at the 4 stakeholders I was talking about, so it expands on our 5 tips, and it expands on everything we've been telling you for the last couple of years in these series. But we're doing a little day in the life series, very hot off the press. The day in the life of a factory or plant GM is being released first. It's in for final editing. I think it's really applicable in just helping you understand how to put this in concept for yourself. We'll be doing one for each of those stakeholders. We're busy on the second one already. But guys, please subscribe, watch these things. We are trying to help and educate and make sure that you are not one of that's those statistics that says, I kind of don't know where to start. I can't scale. Is this going to cost me a fortune? No, start small, test the waters. For heaven's sake, do something. So I'm going to stop there.
Annie, I'm going to give you a chance to have a glass of water, because that was really brilliant. And interestingly, so I mean, a little factoid. I met Annie when I worked at Dell in 2014. And I still learn bits and pieces from your presentation, so thank you for that. But I know how much you put into it. Annie, grab a glass of water, because what was really interesting, and actually, if you look at your screen, when you were talking, I put these together, which was further learning. And you're right, we're very close to releasing. Actually, it's ready. Just need to pop it out. If anyone wants to see the editor's cut, DM me. In actual fact, it's that ready. We're confident. And interestingly, what we've done is look at those pains. So the people here today, those type of personas, process engineers, plant GMs. Episode 1 is ready here. Interestingly, Annie talked about a high-tech manufacturer. Actually, one of the process engineers that used to work in that business is on this presentation today. So Tom, hi. And interestingly, Tom's going to be helping with A Day in the Life of Tom is the working title, where we're looking at process optimization next. I wanted to go because I put a couple of slides up. By the way, please get your questions in. A couple of people have. It's interesting. A couple of people have pinged me with emails, but have not put it in chat. Your questions are important. Please get them across. We're going to throw everything at Annie. Just no April. We're on a no April Fool's Day amnesty today, so no April Fool's jokes, please. The other thing that we wanted to mention is this was really successful. The Smart Factory Buyer's Guide. You're thinking about what to do. How do you get smart? You can grab. Look, we launched this start at end of December, start of January, which is why it's 2026. Scan that. It's going to take you straight to a landing page. You can have that for free. You could, if you can't get your phone out, if it's not there, go to datashack.com. You'll see a page there on the learning zone called Smart Factory Buyer's Guide. You can download it there. So either way, please feel free to grab that. Right, Annie, I'm going to start with a couple of questions that have come in. Again, please don't. No question is silly, so please get these across. The first one, I know you're going to want to you're going to like this one. You showed the stats: 43% site efficiency. So focus on that. Not experimental or disruptive. The suggestions that come in from the business are kind of, we just put in the loony bin of what we can do with AI. How do we ground people? How do we, if I work in the technology department and I work with AI, we want to launch it in the factory. How do we guide stakeholders to work on efficiencies? How would you answer that one?
Well, for me, it's especially if you're in, and it's really funny. I had this discussion last week with one of our tech vendors, and the people that the tech vendors talk to are always the AI, and AI sits at IT, most of the time. And I think it's the wrong place for it to sit, number one. I think a lot of there's one or two customers in this room that I see this morning that have done it really well. They've decentralized it in a way to say, people in our business should be solving these problems. They understand our business best. So when we talk in that context, for me, it's about saying, if you are in central and in AI and maybe in IT, bring yourself and your business analysts closer to the business. I laughed and I said to this tech vendor, I said to him, I speak to the business first. That's traditionally, the right place to start for me. The business comes to us with a problem, a challenge, something that they want to throw this technology at. IT have to be in the loop. IT are innovative in understanding the players, the technologies, and so forth. But these initiatives, the initiatives that work very well, almost rarely come or work well if they are just being pushed down from IT to the business. They work a lot better if the business goes and pushes IT to help. It becomes less of a IT is a cost center, IT is a service, IT costs me money. These guys know that they're doing their homework. They understand for you what is applicable technology, how does this fit into our stack. Absolutely have to be involved, but the drive, I think the business should spend a lot more serious thinking. The business should drive this rather than IT being the only driver. Because I also speak to the IT guys, and they say we want use cases, we want to deploy. We always, and a lot of the not even the software tech vendors, the hardware tech vendors, they walk in with a piece of tin. That's not attractive to the business buyer. What's attractive to the business is, help me solve my problem. Don't come ask me if I want 3 servers and 5 licenses of ABC. How do I solve my problem? IT can help me with the rest, and at that they have to be in the room. They know what your business needs. However, that marrying and bringing the two closer together, I loved when the term IoT evolved between IT and OT, because it's not just IT and OT or technology, it's operational process versus IT process that need to marry, in my mind, closer together.
I also think, and there was something, and I'm answering the question, by the way, as well, because there was something that you said when we were in the room with a large car manufacturer over here in the UK, Annie. You and I did a site visit, and that's the thing of where people say, where do we apply the first use case, or how do we scale? Actually, your question was, well, sometimes you can apply Six Sigma methodology to applying where you put the first use case. And I thought that was really interesting, because then again, you're tying that back to efficiency. We've got another one, again, sent by email. So please feel free, guys, to blip us a question on Q&A. We've replaced data silos with analytics silos. Right, we've heard this one before, right? And in actual fact, we've written a chapter about it in our Smart Manufacturing Buyer's Guide. But what's your thoughts on that? How do you ensure that you're not just replacing the silos of data? We've now got better data. People talk about data products. How are you ensuring that actually AI is built for the factory and everyone can consume it?
Yeah, and a good question, because if you heard what I just said before, when I said the business and IT should be closer together, what you do run the risk if the business takes this elephant and tries to run with it itself. You do run the risk of those silos developing, and poor IT does get blamed all the time to say, well, we've got this, we can't get our data, it sits in all these silos, it's in different places, and I can't marry my supply chain data with my quality or my manufacturing or my process data. Or things in my lab and those kinds of things, and IT is created, but it's almost a generic, like those data silos were created because the business had to own those systems, design them fit for purpose, and you do run the risk, if that's the way your business operates, of actually just putting AI and analytics in those same silos. My answer is always making sure that across the board it's driven as a strategic initiative. You play well with others because you go faster if you do. When it's embedded into the IT strategy, the top level strategy, and the way we solve use cases, you are much more disruptive and competitive if you do it that way and you work together. Because yes, you do run the risk to say, you know what, my IT or somebody's not getting started. I am going to start small in my department. Do not leave strategy behind. Do not engage with the rest of the stakeholders. Stakeholder management, you saw in my enablement to scale, it's very important. Even I remember talks about Six Sigma 20 years ago, where people were saying, why do Six Sigma projects fail? Top stakeholder engagement, especially with my C-levels. KPIs don't align with what we learn in Six Sigma methodology, voice of process, voice of business, voice of customer. They don't align with my strategic KPIs. Why are you running a Six Sigma project that is not, where you can't measure that efficiency, and it doesn't align with my GM strategy? He's not going to give you the money, the time of day. And I had a former employee I'm still friends with many years ago, who once wished me Merry Christmas and said, Annie, I wish you many pretty graphs and happy math and stuff like that. But guys, what I want to say with that is, that's what your GM's going to say to you. Well, thank you for the pretty graphs. Where the hell is my value? Where's my efficiency? In that readiness assessment, when I say to you align, I'm saying, do I have the data? Does it align with those KPIs? Is this use case really the one that we want to solve first? Can we? Do we have everything in place? And yes, then you can build a proper strategy. And yes, then get damn well started.
Yeah. I've got the next question actually has popped in. So we've already submitted budgets for the next year, because it's the first, we've finished this financial quarter year. If we wanted to avail ourselves super quick and get a readiness assessment in to affect our AI roadmap, can you guys support? And here's the thing, we actually have Elise. She's not on camera. Elise, I'm not going to drop you in it. Don't worry, you're not on camera. But if someone could drop Elise's email into the chat, ping Elise. Elise is our regional across EMEA and the Africa regions. She leads our sales. Elise is not we're not expecting you to be to do info at. We're a real person. I think we often say we're small enough to care and big enough to deliver. So if you have any requirements for AI readiness assessments, or you need boots on the ground, we'll do our best to be able to support. I think I'm going to wrap up now. Annie, by the way, if you're in the UK in June, we're exhibiting at Smart Manufacturing Engineering Week. It's a really big show. Annie's talk starts with the word imagine. And we actually use, or what Annie's going to be talking about there. I know some of the people on this presentation here have joined Annie in person to hear her. Is imagine a world where actually pilots scale out and become factory wide, and they all work. We don't have the 5% or the 85%. We have 100% failure. So that's what we'll be looking at. If you're in the UK, have a look at that. We're about to announce something for South Africa and the Southern African regions. But I also want to do a last imagine. Imagine if Davos and the World Economic Forum wasn't in Switzerland and would come to the, where is the belt, Annie?
Near Chobe.
Yeah. So if there are any senior business leaders on this joining this call, you're probably going to get a little tap on your shoulder, because actually imagine you don't have to use your imagination. We're going to bring Davos and someone called Henry von Steele, a professor.
Professor Henrik von Steele, don't get his name wrong.
We're going to bring him. We're going to bring him to Africa. So we'll be letting you guys know a little bit about that. We'll probably touch you on that in between time. I always wrap up with this. The most important people on this presentation were you. Thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate you spending the time. It was interesting that I always look at stickiness. If I join a session and it's boring and dull, I leave after 10 minutes. There are actually more people on the presentation now than when we started, and no one's left. It's really nice that you've spent the time with us. Like I said, we'll get the recording out. You've got Elise's direct email address, and wherever you are in the world, I wish you the very best for the rest of your day.
Thank you, everyone. Really, really appreciate you being here and spending your time with us. And to some of the old friends on the call, so great to see you. Thank you.